evening, everybody. We just asked you to kind of lower your voices. We want to start the official program on the Grace Leland recognition and celebration event for the one and only Northridge legend, Grace Leland. And May Farr, very close friend of Grace's. So we have some great representation here from the administration, from the physicians who work so closely with Grace, and from the Grace Leland Physician Appreciation Award that's distributed every year at Steppin' Out. And in a time that we all turn on the news and get a little down and out and seeing some of the sadness around the world, we are here this evening to celebrate and smile and recognize and pay tribute to the tremendous commitment and dedication and devotion to an individual at one organization for 66 years, our Grace Leland. So representing the current administration, I'd like to introduce Dr. Mark DeMay, our Chief Medical Officer, to say a few words. Dr. DeMay.
Thank you, Brian. Well, since Brian already introduced me, on behalf of Paul Watkins and the entire senior leadership team here at Northridge, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you to this celebration of Grace. You know, I'm not qualified to say much about Grace because I've only been here for 3 years. But when you newly arrive at a hospital, you find surprises. And more often than not, or all too often, not all those surprises are good surprises. But in this case, discovering Grace Leland at Northridge was like a diamond in the rough. Grace is a hidden gem of Northridge Hospital. And we're going to hear from the people who know her best about why that is so. But when someone has the kind of magic that Grace has, I try to learn something. I try to say, well, you know, what is it? What is it that I'm experiencing with that person? And in the case of Grace, for me, it's the observation that for Grace, all of you, all of us, the medical staff, the hospital staff, are family. And she treated everybody like family. And maybe we can take a lesson from that. So without much further ado, it's also my pleasure, representing all former presidents and current presidents of Northridge Hospital, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeff Flocker. Jeff was president here from 89 to 97, if you trust the internet, but he can clarify anything I got wrong. So thank you for coming, Jeff.
I don't want to be glib, but we'll start with my name. It's Flocken. But I've been called Flocker before, too. And worse. You know, good evening to everyone, and I want to thank Mark, and I want to thank Brian for asking me to be part of today's program. When Brian asked me to share a few thoughts on behalf of the former CEOs, I didn't realize how difficult this might be. You know, I'd ask each of you, how many of you know a person who's given over 60 years of loving service over a lifetime to a single organization? I know the answer to that. It's not many. And as I began to organize my thoughts, you know, of course I did what everybody does these days. You go to the computer and you go into Google. And so I Googled Grace. And not your name, but just Grace. And I have to say to you, Grace, that whoever named you has to be clairvoyant. Because for you see, grace is defined as simple elegance, courteous goodwill, to do honor or credit by one's presence. And I can't think of a better description for your gifts to Northridge Hospital Medical Center and to all of us who are gathered here today. You know, in today's healthcare environment, we have a hodgepodge of titles of Chief Patient Experience Officer, Physician Relations Directors, Community Relations Directors, Patient Relations Directors, and the like. And it can be easy to overlook that in essence, Grace, you fulfilled all of those roles over the time that you were here at the hospital in one way or another. And you were a person of many talents, and you did so much for us and the community. And I guess I really shouldn't overlook also, you were the matron of key control and parking permits for everybody. And everybody knows that's how you got to know everybody. That's your secret. Nobody could park here or get a key to wherever they had to work unless they saw Grace. And what I think is even more impressive, Grace, is that you did this for, by my count, 9 CEOs who were here. And as a group, I'd have to say we were quite a cast of characters with diverse personalities, idiosyncrasies, strengths, weaknesses, faults, and life experiences that we brought to the role here. But there were some things that we all knew. We knew that we could depend on you to work tirelessly to serve our employees, medical staff, board, and community. We could depend upon you knowing that you were committed to whatever you set out to do, even if, as you used to say, you had to do your best detective work to find out what was going on and how to make something right. And you were a trusted confidant and sounding board for so many things, for all of us. But most importantly, Grace, as I look at it, you help to build relationships. Grace knows who you are. She knows something about your family, and it was all sincere. She knows more people, attended more gatherings, whether they be birthday parties, anniversaries, graduations, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, charity events, and all the like. And I think some of you know she was there to support everyone in good times and some of the not so good times. And she always knew what needed to be done. It's just who you are. And I know for certain that everyone gathered here has a story or a moment of gratitude for Grace, and I hope that you all get a chance to share it with her. She probably won't say much about herself. She never did. But she might share with you one of her jokes of the day as you wander by what used to be her office, right, Grace? All those jokes that you had. On a personal note, I'd like to thank you, Grace, for all you did to support me and my family and my tenure here as CEO. As a young, first-time young CEO, you helped guide me in so many ways. And I'm sure my colleagues would share similar gratitude from their own perspectives and experiences. Now, before I finish, I do have one story to tell about Grace. And most of you who know Grace, but in all of my 17 years at Northridge Hospital, I never remember celebrating her birthday. Never, ever, ever celebrating a birthday, not a mention of it, not anything. In fact, she never spoke about birthdays, birth date, year, anything like that. Right, Grace? That's true, right? Okay. You admit it. In fact, Dr. Canemount will have more to say about that later, but I have one little story just to tell about you that you might remember, is that I was out to dinner with Grace and my wife Marty, and we were out with George and Eileen Iskander, and we were at the hostess desk, and Grace tried to slip the hostess her credit card so she could pay for the dinner before any of us knew, we even sat to sit down with dinner. Well, as she's flipping her credit card out, the driver's license falls on the floor. And Marty and Eileen and Grace, it looked like Friday night wrestling as to who was going to get the driver's license because they all wanted to find out when you were born. And if you remember, they did. But Grace, you know what? We're so old we forgot when it was, so your secret is still there. And Grace, I know all of my colleagues and everyone here join me in expressing our love and gratitude to you for knowing us, for caring for us, and easing our way. Thank you. May God continue to bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. So just so you know, in the back of the room, it's about 12 degrees to 15 degrees cooler up here with the blowers. If you want to come up, there's plenty of seats. So now I'd like to introduce our Chief of Medical Staff for the last 2 years, Dr. Jahander Saleh, to introduce our next guest speaker. Dr. Saleh.
Good evening, everybody. I'm mainly here to introduce Dr. Jabbour, but I did want to say just a few words. It is my absolute honor to be celebrating our beloved Grace. Grace, I wanted to say on behalf of the medical staff, we miss you. I miss you, and I think I may be speaking for others when we walk in that medical staff corridor, looking through their office door where you were there entertaining a physician, maybe a new physician that you were trying to show around, or maybe just mingling with some of our medical staff members. We definitely miss you in the doctor's lounge to make sure that our coffee pot is full, there's although we don't read newspapers as much anymore, I know you were there always making sure that that your boys are behaving and that they are taken care of. From the bottom of my heart, I wanted to thank you for all those years of showing so much kindness to us. You were always there for us, right? You were always there for any problems that we had. Maybe a family member got admitted through the ER and got a little big bill, and here they were with you, asking you to help them out for anything. You know, they were there, coming to you and asking for advice. I think your legacy in this hospital transcends generations of many administrators to come, many physicians. But you truly, as someone said, you truly embody the true meaning of your word, of your name. And I'm very thankful for everything that you've done for us. I wish you great health for many, many years to come. All right, without further ado, I want to introduce Dr. Adel Jabbour, who is going to have a few words with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saleh. Beautifully said. On behalf of the medical staff, I'd like to join you celebrating the legend in Northridge Hospital. I joined Northridge Hospital in 1978. Now you know how old I am. When I joined the medical staff, I really wanted to know who are the important people to get introduced to. I met Dr. David Cass, another vascular surgeon, who introduced me to Grace Leland. He told me, you need anything? Don't go to the administration. Go to her. She will help you. You need a parking place, you need a key, you need a plaque, go to Grace. Well, I was very happy to meet her and get acquainted with her. Later, I found I'm not the only doctor who goes to Grace. All doctors go to Grace. Later, I also found out she calls them my boys. For a Catholic woman, you had a lot of boys, Grace. But we all loved her. At one time, I realized her loyalty to her boys was always there, and the boys had her loyalty always to Grace. Out of this passion came the term Mother Grace, and this Mother Grace will last for a long time. Grace, I would like to take the opportunity to thank you with all my heart on behalf of the medical staff. You were the shining star and always for us. Thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Kahneman. Don't back off now. Come out here.
Thank you, sir. And I promise no potty mouth tonight. Anyway, I'll try to make it brief because it's not really cool up here. It's hot. Anyway, Miss Grace, or shall I say Mother Grace, has dedicated her life to this institution, Northridge Hospital, and truly loves her boys and girls, as she calls them, members of our medical staff. I'm humbled to have been included in those nominated for the Grace Leland Physician Appreciation Award, but we're only a small part of a large group of medical specialists that work in conjunction with the extensive team, including but not limited to support staff, security, food services, transportation, orderlies, nurses, administrative staff, all that work together to provide the care for our patients with compassion and human kindness at Northridge Hospital. We also have recognition awards for our nursing staff and physicians, but what about the myriad of other staff that allow us to do our jobs for patient care in this big community? So therefore, I was talking with Brian, and we were just kind of bouncing ideas back and forth, and we came up with an idea that's how appropriate to honor Miss Grace and all of her contributions at Northridge Hospital with an annual recognition to a member of the hospital-wide team who emulates Mrs. Grace's dedication to Northridge Hospital. And we're going to call this the Grace Leland Tribute Award. Brian?
Thank you, Doctor. So, yeah, I think this is one of the main goals of the committee, of the doctors here, of the staff, of the administration, and certainly of the foundation, because Grace has been a board member for many years. We wanted to be certain to continue her legacy. So as Doctor said, the Grace Leland Tribute Award will commence tonight. We will do it annually. We will do it at Nurses Week or Hospital Week in May. But because we have such a glorious ceremony here tonight, we thought we would start the award tonight and give the first Grace Leland Tribute Award to a person who just exemplifies all the wonderful characteristics that Grace has shown to us: devotion, approachability, always willing to help, commitment, dedication to a cause, and dedication to the organization, and always greeting people with open arms and a willingness to help. And so I want to bring up Dr. Saleh as the Chief of Staff and CT to announce our first recipient this year.
Okay, the recipient is Miss Nina Hirsch.
What it means to me to have anything associated with Grace's name. For me, it means the world, absolutely. Did you not hear what? Oh, okay. You want me to start over? I said that just having anything associated with Grace's name given to me is an honor. I just can't express it to you. Thank you so much.
Real quickly, to fund this little enterprise, we do need some donations, and funds do not, gas, grass, or cash to make this thing go. And so at the very back of the room, there's some envelopes there, and it will say, yes, I want to help support the Grace Leland Tribute Fund. And you can check out how much you'd like to do. It's tax deductible to the foundation. But remember, this young lady here has contributed a lot, so we'd like to continue honoring her every year and honor all members of the medical staff, and this is a nice way of doing it. And every year they get a nice little plaque. Plus, we're going to be giving back to the community because we'll also give the winner a gift card for a dinner for two for some restaurant in the Northridge area, so that we can also give back to our community that we help support. So in the back of the room, there is cards for donations. Thank you very much. And Brian, yes? Huh? Oh yeah. By the way, I'm throwing $1,000 into the pot to get it started. So everybody else, if you want, And then Brian is going to follow with some more money. So remember, you know what? You dig into the pockets, get rid of the flies and kind of give us a little bit of cash. Thank you very much. And Brian, here you go. We have one more thing.
Thank you, CT. Congratulations, Nina. Congratulations. Well deserved. So I think, Mr. Falcon, why don't you come back up here? You had a great story, and we talked about Grace's birthday, and we'll be very respectful here because Grace's birthday was last week. So, Maestro? All righty then. Okay, we have a wonderful cake. Let's sing happy birthday to Grace last week.
Happy birthday to you and many more.
You know she has a sweet tooth, don't you? Coffee, please. Coffee, coffee. Happy birthday, Grace. Happy birthday. And of course, no ceremony would be complete without our guest of honor with a beautiful bouquet of roses. Grace, congratulations on a wonderful recognition and celebration event. Please stick around. The store does have photo opportunities, plenty of food and drink. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate all that you do for us, and we want to see this Grace Leland Tribute Fund continue on. And again, congratulations to our first recipient, Nina Hirsch. Thank you, everybody.
What do you think about today, Grace?
Well, it was fabulous, unbelievable, unforgettable. But I had the whole family.